now it's time to do our tie. Now, you have 3 pieces for your tie, and we're going to join these 3 pieces together to create the tie. Now, Mrs. Crook has to cut a lot of these out, and sometimes they can be just a tiny bit choppy, and if that's the case with yours, you can bring it to me and I will help you just straighten up these edges a little bit with my rotary cutter. So I'll help you out with that. We'll just put it down and I will cut off little choppy bits so that we end up with these nice smooth pieces, which will be a whole lot easier for you to sew. So we're just going to cut little bits off just so that we're able to line them all up and have them all even and the same size. So if you have that problem, please come to me and we'll get that sorted, or to Mrs. Benson, and we'll be able to fix those so that they're all nice and even for you. I'll do that to this one, and then I'm going to show you how to sew them together. Right, now we have our 3 pieces, all the same size, and we have to join each of these ends to the other end. So we've got to put this one here and pin it, and then we're going to do this one on the end of that one. I'm going to show you what that looks like once I've done it. There we go. I have folded about 1.5 centimeters, and that's my first join. And then I'm going to come along here, and here's my second join. You need to make sure that when you do it, both the joins are on the same size. You don't want this join to be over here, because these are going to be inside our tie, and you won't see them. So we need to make sure they're on the same side, and we're going to sew along here, and then we're going to trim this little bit off. You're not going to leave this bulk on here. We're going to trim it and do a little zigzag to keep it nice and strong. That is our first step. So we're going to go to the sewing machine and just sew these 2 ends together. This is our first. So once again, we're going to line up with this first line on our strike plate. Get our needle in and reverse. Just sew to the end. And then reverse. And lift and cut. Then we're going to do the next join. Come along and do our next join there. So remember, lining up there, reverse, and don't forget to reverse at this end. Lift and cut. Alright, so we're going to trim this excess bit off, because we really don't want that getting in the way later and making it bulky. I'm going to trim that off, and I'm going to zigzag it. So I'm going to change my setting over here. I'm going to change my setting to 7. Okay, and that's going to give me my zigzag stitch. Come back to here, and we're going to pop that under, and we're just going to zigzag along that edge. And this is going to make it nice and neat and make it sit nice and flat. Now you don't need to reverse this one, it's zigzag, it's kind of locked itself in already. And we're just going to do that to our other edge. We're going to trim. Zigzag. Oh, I automatically reversed just then. That's kind of muscle memory. There we go. Nice and neat. And we're ready for our next step. And we need to iron. There's a lot of ironing coming. All right, we are going to iron this in half to start with. Go all the way along. We're going to iron our tie in half. So it's quite long. about 1.5 meters or so, maybe a bit longer, maybe almost 2 meters. That's quite long. But this is why we wanted our pieces to be exactly the same size. So that's why I trimmed off a few little bits of pieces off this one, because it wasn't quite all the same size. But you want this to be the same size all the way along. I'm going to iron it in half. This is the easy part of the iron. And we're going to get a little bit fiddlier. I'm just going to go all the way to the end. Nice little bit. Right. Now we're going to go back to start. We're going to open it back up again. Okay. And we're going to fold into the center and into the center. And then over. Okay, so we're going to fold into the center. Like that. And just iron along. Yep, make sure it's to the center. Oh, I went a bit far then. That side, and then that side, just into the center. So just keep going along into the center. Now I'm doing both sides. You could do one side and then the next side if you're more comfortable doing it that way. So you could just go along and just do all this side. Just keep going along and doing that one side so you can see that center. And then come back and do all of this side. Give it a burst of steam just to make it stay. Let's keep going along. Just this, the iron is just a really easy way to get things to stay where you want them to stay. I'm just going to keep going. Pull it down. That side. Coming along. Almost there. You don't have to do